Hello everyone, it's John and yeah, there's Pippin down here. Hello, are you going to say hello? No, he's just going to sit down there and not say much. He's got cobbler's pegs stuck all over him at the moment, so whether or not he decides to say anything, I don't know. Oh, you're going to play up now. Hello? You going to pop your head up? No? Oh, okay. He's just going to sit there and... So it's been a little while since I've posted anything, hasn't it? What have I been up to? Well, the medication. The medication they put me on. Oh, all I've been wanting to do is sleep. And that's all I've really been doing, is just been lying down and sleeping. It's really, honestly, it's stopped me from doing anything. You know, my mind's wanted to do stuff, but I've had absolutely no inclination in wanting to do anything. I've not wanted to play any solo games or to design anything. So really the only thing I have really been doing has been listening to audiobooks, because I just haven't had, I haven't even had the strength to get up and go anywhere. And to be honest, here in Brisbane, our delightful Premier has put us in lockdown for 3 days. So for hopefully today will be our last day and we get some freedom again. So we'll see anyway. But I've been listening to audiobooks. So I thought I'd share with you what I've... what are you doing? What are you getting excited over? People will think strange things if they hear that noise in the background. Yes. Yes, they will. They'll think very strange things. So yes, I've been listening to audiobooks, and as I think I've said before, with the fact that I've got Kindle as well as Audible, I found that you can get a good deal with the WhisperSync, and so I've been primarily looking for the deal with the book and the Audible, which has worked out quite well. And I really do like, for instance, Jim Butcher. So those sort of urban, what do they call them, urban fantasy supernatural books. So I think I've just about tapped out all the ones that I can find, because they're hard to, really hard to come by, because a lot of them seem to be written for romance, vampire romance or witch romance, and while some of them aren't too bad, I'm not really into romance, to be honest. Some of them aren't too bad, but anyway, here's some of the ones that I found that I've really, well, that I've enjoyed. Some are really good, some I found fairly average. But the author, Vivian Shaw, she has done a series called Dr. Greta Helsing. And the premise for that one is she's a doctor to the undead. And there's a series of, I think, 3 books for that, where she solves some mysteries and that revolving around some issues. And initially she's set, I think the first book's in London, then she goes to Paris, and I can't remember what the 3rd book revolves around, but they're, you know, I'm not going to give much away, because I'm just going to say whether or not I like the series and just recommend them, because, well, once again, if I'm mentioning them here, I found them to be quite good. And of course all these ones here that I'm mentioning are all on audio, and consequently I do recommend them. Next is N.P. Martin, and the Ethan Drake series. Now, this series has me in a absolute fit of laughter. Now, it is a very adult-orientated series, so there's a lot of modern concepts. So there's drug taking, there's a bit of sex, there's a lot of foul language. He has initially 6 and then drops down to 5 demons that are like munchkins, I suppose you could call them, and called hell bastards. And they are the rudest, crudest little buggers that you could think of. And they are hilarious. But they're also demons, so you've got to bear that in mind. And then he ends up later on with, well, he doesn't, oh, pardon me, he doesn't end up, but one of the other characters that joins him, his partner, Hannah Walker, who's a fallen angel. She has a helicorn or helicorn called Hademus, and he has some issues, shall we say, some really big issues. And the voice that they've given him, he's supposed to be the warhorse of a Spartan warrior, but the accent is more. I don't know. The accent to me sounds more Hispanic, but could be whatever. But it's really it is hilarious, particularly when he suddenly gets a taste for narcotics and coke. He goes on a bit of a bender, but yeah. But anyway, it's a really good series. So I've only gotten up to, I think, book 4, and there's another. Pardon me. As I said, as you can guess, I am about ready for another nana nap. So there's another 2 books that that haven't come out on audio yet, but they're in print. So I'm waiting for those to come out on audio, but I may not wait. I might have to read them. Then the next series is by Adam J. Wright, called Harbinger Pi, and I've read, I think there's quite a few of those. I've read 5 of them so far, and the main character there, Alec, has been sent to a little sleepy place in apparently Deermont, Maine, which apparently has a 0 rating of supernatural occurrences. But as we all know, as soon as you read that, you go, yep, of course there's going to be lots of occurrences, aren't there? So it's quite good series. He has a decent support cast in characters who aren't, they're not superheroes, they're just sort of average people. And he's it's quite a good series. Seems to be, it's got multiple plots running throughout the series, so it's going to be interesting to see how they develop. So I quite like that series. Then another one is Chris Underwood. His series is what are you doing? Is Lost Falls. I've got to go back and have another listen to this because I've listened to must have been one of the first ones that I listened to, called Lost Falls series, and there's only 2 of them out, although I got the 3rd book. It's got changelings and redcaps and hags, so he's called on most of the traditional fairy types. And yeah, so I quite like the looks of it. So hang on, what you doing? Come up here. Oh, here he is. Hello. What you doing? What you doing? You being a little man now, are you? Oh, what you doing? You're going to be a problem. Going over there. All right, you go sit over there now. You going to go sit over there? The producer doesn't know what he's doing. Typical. All right. So that was Chris Underwood. As I said, I quite liked his books. The first book was, dealt with changelings, which I thought was really interesting. And the second one was about somebody. I won't. Can't. I'll drop that. Next author is Orlando A. Sanchez, and I'm really liking the Montague and Strong Case Files series. And they run a detective agency, and so Montague is a mage, and Strong is an immortal, or cursed to be immortal by Kali. And so it's quite good. And eventually, Strong ends up being given a hellhound, a pup from one of Cerebus's pups, which Hades calls. His name is Peaches. So the humour throughout the book is really good. So I quite recommend. I think they're up to about 17 or 18 books in this series, I think. So must be doing quite well, I think, if they've released that many books. So I really do recommend that series, Montague and Strong Case Files by Orlando A. Sanchez. So that was quite good. Another one. Now I've got it. I think I've listened to the first one. I really haven't gotten into it, and that's by Shane Silvers, and that's the Nate Temple series. I think I listened to the first one. I think there was something to do with dragons and stuff. I've got to go back and have a proper listen to it. I think it might have been one that I put on when I was trying to go to sleep, and I don't think I got into it. And consequently, I think I've got to go back and have a listen to that one again. Then the next one along is John P. Longsdon and Christopher P. Young, and that's the Netherworld Paranormal Police Department series. And I don't know, I've only listened to one so far, and that was because it was a really cheap introduction. I think the book was only like $1.99 and the audio was only $2.99. So it was, something like about $4 or $5 or something to get both of them. Oh, hello, you're back. Good. So it was really cheap to get the book and the audio. So the premise there is that they're called retrievers, and they obviously must work in the netherworld, and they come up into our world to retrieve supernaturals that have overstayed or contravened whatever laws that have been set in place. And the main characters, which is Piper Shaw, is an immortal, and her partner is Reaper Payne, who's a reaper, who's apparently one of the people that ferry the dead, and apparently he's transgressed some rule that the reapers have to abide by, and he's been sanctioned to 100 years in the mortal world. So so the only thing I found was that the audio, I wasn't really wrapped with the narrator, so I think that's put me off a little. But apart from that, I'll give another book a go and see if that improves any, because at this stage it's an average book, average series. But again, you really can't judge sometimes the first book. Next series is Brad Magnarella and Prof Croft series. Now this one I am enjoying. Main character there is Everson Croft, and it's interesting, huge cast of. You're wondering where this series is going. Initially, he's battling the what's happening here? Am I going to lose? Sorry for my finger. I'm wondering whether or not I'm going to lose my video. You're battling undead and vampires, and then you're moving on to the Fae, and now you're battling wizards. So it's interesting as to what's the overlying storyline, but it's keeping me interested. And at this stage, it's sort of turning into some sort of Machiavellian style intrigue within the magic world. So it's keeping me going, and I quite like it. So yeah, well and truly worth. Next is Peter McLean and The Burned Man. And I must get the other two books. I've sort of put off getting the others. I've read the first one, and I really liked it. It was different. Don Drake, who's the main character, is more or less a hitman for them, and he owes debts, and he's an alcoholic, and he can't afford his bits and pieces, and he thieves from his girlfriend, and he's really an immoral character, to be honest. And he unfortunately sends these demons off to do the hit, and ends up with some collateral damage where he takes an innocent person's life, and of course he can't deal with that. And but it continues. The story's really quite good, and he ends up with an angel as a, not a sidekick, but as one of his friends, and that becomes interesting. And yeah, but anyway, the Burned Man is like a familiar, if you'd like to call it, or he's bound to the Burned Man, or the Burned Man is bound to him. And the way how the Burned Man sounds, it's like, I don't know if you're familiar with Steptoe and Son, but it's just, the voice of him is, he's rude and he's crude, and it's just like, reminds me so much of Steptoe, the old man. He's a really old, gobshite, and he's it's quite good. So I really do sort of, if you can, have a listen. But again, it's really, really adult orientated. Next one, Hunter Blaine. Again, another, it's called the Preternatural Chronicles. And the main character there is John Cook, a vampire. Get a lot of vampire stories, don't we? You got Dar, the fairy. I love Dar, the fairy. I think Dar's hilarious. And then you got Depvig, the werewolf, and then you got the quotes and the quips and everything in there. They must have pulled so many things out of so many movie quotes. And for instance, Luke Daniels is the narrator in this series, and he does such a brilliant job. And I really do like Luke Daniels as a narrator, and I think I've got quite a few books where Luke has been the narrator in a number of books, and the job that he does is brilliant. But yeah, this series, Hunter Blaine, that Hunter Blaine does for this Preternatural Chronicles with John Cook is just it is hilarious. The main character is just an absolute hoot. But again, it is really adult orientated. So, and if you're going to be offended with stuff, honestly, don't read or listen. Next one is William Massa, and it's Fear the Light, and it's a whodunit. It's Who Killed Dracula, and eight vampires, the eight vampires of the clan. So there's only eight vampires that Dracula's sired, and they all turn up to work out who killed him, and they're all trapped in Dracula's castle, and they're trapped in daylight, and they've got to solve who did it, and yeah, it's a really good. It's okay, but you know, it's different, yeah. But you know, again, I'm a person who's read so many whodunits that it wasn't too difficult for me to work out who it was halfway through. Once some tidbits had been thrown out, and I'm there going, okay, this must be the person. Yeah. Anyway, next is Torsten Wheats. I presume that's how it's pronounced. It's the Nebulo Convicto series. And the first one's called Grayson, Steele and the Shrouded Council of London. Now, there are more in this series, but they're in German. They haven't been translated across yet. So I'm really hoping that they will be, because I found the first one was really, really good. He's a sort of no-nonsense detective that treads on toes, doesn't care about politics, doesn't care about upsetting his superiors, but his immediate superior or superiors get him to do the job because his success rate in solving crimes is really, really good. So that's why he's kept on. So anyway, he basically comes across a coin that activates, I guess, an ability that's been dormant within him, and he becomes this I can't remember what the term is now, but he becomes this special person within the wizarding or the supernatural community, and he becomes basically a tribune, and his job is to investigate matters within the supernatural community. And yeah, it's a really good, really good. I thoroughly enjoyed it. So he gets to meet the Lady of the Lake and a lot of other people that, you know, he's going, oh, okay, and didn't know they existed, did they? Oh, so yeah, quite good. And the last book that I'll mention is by the author Dan Willis. There's only one book that's out on audio. The rest are all in print. That well, unless there's more that are still to be released. Called the Arcane Casebook, and that's the main character there is Alec Lockerbie, and it's set in an alternative, I guess, steampunk or alternative 1920s 30s period where magic exists, and he's like a gumshoe, a detective that can. He's a runesmith sort of thing where he casts magic through writing down runes or sigils on paper and casts it through that. And yeah, it's really good. I quite like the series. Certainly the audio was very good, and I do hope they continue to release more and more of them as audios. So there we have it. Pippi, you going to come say goodbye? No, he's giving me the stink eye now. So there you go. That has been what I have been spending my time on. And so I have been extremely unproductive, except for absorbing lots and lots of, I guess, plot ideas. I see my doctors again, I think, on the 20th and 27th, so I've got to talk to them about this business of... Because after this, I'll just, probably go have another sleep for about half an hour or so, and probably find the energy to cobble this all together as a video, and probably go have another nap for another half an hour, and then probably put this back up, probably put it up on YouTube. So anyway, look, thank you very much for watching this incredibly long, hopefully not too boring video. So till next time, signing off, the Honourable John.